Good day, everyone. I'm your host, Money Making Mando at IG. Again, Money Making Mando and IG. I'm here with another episode of the Real Estate Deli, where we cut through the noise and deliver actionable insight straight to you and make the information always the star. And here we have a star himself, Dennis Goroski. A pleasure to having you, brother. What's going on?
Hey man, glad we could connect. Yeah, Dustin Jarosky, located in Florida. Been here last 4 years since COVID.
Awesome. What drove you to Florida since you said you only been there 4 years?
Um, my my wife and I, we both have family here, and she grew up here, so it just made it a lot easier. And we already had connections, and COVID was kind of going crazy, so we wanted to go somewhere that we had a lot of resources, people, stuff like that, and we liked it.
Awesome. How long have you been in the real estate sector? Have you been investing for a while?
Yeah, so my background is finance. Like I went to undergrad on Oahu out in Hawaii, and then we came to Florida during COVID, and that's where we were down in Miami, and so I got a finance master's down there, and then I moved into real estate 2 years ago.
Oh, so you're kind of fresh at it still.
Yeah, fresh, but it's been very concentrated. Like I haven't done anything besides real estate the past 2 years.
Okay,
So it's been
you're versed
very dense.
for all day, every day.
Yeah, very
That's
dense.
awesome. That's awesome. You know, to be enthralled in something that you, I guess, want to do and enjoy doing it. There's no other way to do it, right? Than to go all in, right? And
Yeah.
what specific markets are you in?
Yeah, so we're primarily buying right now Central Florida. We have a handful in Orlando, one up in the Panhandle, and then this is the sub two that I live in here is just below Daytona. And then we do have a loan to own situation going on in Iowa.
Interesting.
So mostly Florida.
How's that going?
Well, we did it right. So if we do end up owning it, we're actually going to wait. We're going to make a whole lot more than it just if we got paid back. So it's bittersweet. It's like more work, but if we take it over and we sell it, there's a ton of equity. So we'll see what happens.
Awesome. Good luck on that. I know that you're really focused on the co-living aspect of the real estate sector. I would like to delve into that and educate our audience kind of granularly to see it so they can understand exactly what it is, and maybe they have interest in investing in that as well, or know someone who's looking for a space, and maybe you create an opportunity for someone. So let's delve into the actual co-living model that you're doing.
Yeah, definitely. So fortunately, my two main partners, like I am also a Florida agent, and my main capital partner is actually my broker. He's in sub two, and so I kind of got lucky timing wise because he already had some pad splits, and then I found a really good wholesale deal like over a year ago, and I showed it to him, and he's like, "We're going to keep it, and we're going to turn it into a pad split." So ultimately, that's how I got my first one, and this was in Orlando. And then my other partner, who I own like regular rentals with, he has some co-living, but he's done about 60 rehabs total, and then most of his portfolio though is regular rentals. Like he has a handful of co-living already as well. So fortunately, I got to piggyback off of them because they already had a lot of experience and knew what we were looking for. And so my first one, I just found it, and then I helped along the way, like get it set up, or essentially project manage a good chunk of it.
Yeah, that sounds awesome that you were able to leverage these relationships and kind of expedite that process, right? Just leaning on someone's experience, right? And how do you, when you look at a deal like this and you want to underwrite it, or right? Do you look at it differently since you're looking at it to add because co-living, you're adding rooms, correct? Right? You bedrooms,
Yeah.
right? And maybe bathrooms, right? So,
Yeah.
like I said, and do you analyze these different, knowing that you are probably going to add space to it, or do you look at square footage? Is there a model that you look for, a buy box, let's say that you're looking for?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's good timing because I already had a good idea yesterday, but then just for my own content, I interviewed someone just like this that works at Pad Split, just to check my buy box to see, hey, am I doing am I missing anything? And there's everything was pretty similar, but ultimately, at least, so definitely no HOA, not even if it's $1 a month.
No HOA.
No. And then ideally, it is like a Class C neighborhood. So it just everyone defines that differently, but the way she defined it is it's just more transient. A large percentage of the neighborhood are rentals. It's not new homes that families bought and live in. So it's more transient.
Okay.
Ideally, it's at least a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,700 square foot or above.
Okay.
That way, because if it's too small, it doesn't really, numbers don't crunch. And then lastly, the big thing was at the most half a mile to a bus stop. Like some people try to get away with maybe up to a mile, but anything above that, it's not, because you can only fit so much parking. Like our Orlando one, it's an 8-bed, but we're only allowing 6 people to keep cars there.
And how do you keep the cars? Is there you just keep them in the front of the house, or there a back entrance? Because I would think that would bring considerable attention, maybe from people who are just want to be nosy, or does that matter?
Yeah. I mean, you're trying to get along with your neighbors. Like we've actually had on the Orlando one, we had a neighbor report us as an illegal Airbnb. And so, but in the end, they can't really do anything other than just kind of cause headaches. And so
they can't.
And then ideally, yeah, like we're in compliance.
Okay.
And so, no HOA is crucial.
So
but then the last thing is,
go ahead, buddy.
The last other big thing though is you really want to look at the jobs. Like you want to see Walmart's, Home Depot's, Lowe's, Costco's. Like you want to see these big job providers, because the people that are renting by the room, not all, but a lot of them are working at those big job hubs. So you want to see how close you are to those as well.
So you have to be mindful to those situations, maybe even a ballpark or something like that, right? Get places where it drives jobs, obviously, right? You want to be somewhat local to a super center, right? Stuff that stuff is kind of built in already. If you're looking for something, an opportunity, I guess you would search for areas where these super centers, let's say, are located, and then you could, I guess, spread out and to see look for these then neighborhoods, right? The no HOAs, the Class Cs. Yeah. So there's actually a plan there, or a system, if you really think about it, right? If you kind of reverse engineer it, I'm just thinking, right? If you look for super centers and then spread out and then look at the neighborhoods, these neighborhoods viable for these opportunities, no HOAs, obviously, and then maybe you can then create an opportunity, right? Then you have your buy box, right? 1,700 square feet and above, right? Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome for information for those who don't know about this. And then how about the rooms? These rooms have to be permitted or not, because it's just putting up a wall. And how many bedrooms? You have a max bedroom, let's say for 1,700 square feet to 1,000. You'd already kind of the max space you would put, how many rooms you would put in a situation like that?
Yeah, so like we just closed on a property last week. It's, don't quote me, but it's a little over 2,000 square foot.
Okay.
And we're turning it into 8.3. Currently, it's a 3.3.
Okay.
And that's the highest number, in my opinion. You want to go is 8. Some people, push 9, 10, 11, I've seen. But then that's just a lot of bodies under one roof, a lot of personalities. And then on the low side, in my opinion, at least for Florida, it doesn't really make sense to go lower than 6. Not unless you're buying like a 2% sub 2 deal with a PITI, like a grand kind of thing.
Yeah.
So 7, 8 is kind of the sweet spot.
Okay, so there's a sweet spot from your experience where you could do you then have to add additional bathrooms need be, or you just try to avoid that and just buy a specific three bathrooms, and that's non-negotiable, let's say?
Yeah, so the ratio that Pad Split, the max bed bath ratio they'll allow is four bedrooms per 1 bath. So it kind of circles back to when you're buying, you at least want 2 baths in the first place. Because ideally, so the master bedroom is a really good example. Unless that master bedroom has a private entrance as well, it actually makes sense to either turn it into 2 bedrooms or, and this is kind of weird, but it works. Instead of that master bedroom having only access to that master bath, we create a hallway to the bathroom, and then the master bedroom gets its own new door, and now the master bath is public.
Oh,
it's kind of weird.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
It's weird. So we did that. We're doing it again.
So obviously, these rooms have to be positioned a certain way where you can create an opportunity like that, right? So you have to, I guess you have to maybe have a vision as well to see these things before you even make them happen, right? So you have to have maybe an eye for it already, right? Or someone you can lean on to give you that vision, let's say, because there might be opportunities that a newbie might not see, that a person that you might see, or some of your partners that, right, you have some experience in that space already, right? You mentioned Pad Split a couple of times. Pad Split, I know what it is, but let's tell your audience what Pad Split is actually.
Yeah, so it's pretty similar to like a platform like Airbnb, where they're the middleman, and they help you find customers essentially. And then with Pad Split, though, they are targeting an audience where they're changing some of the rules as of lately too. But typically these people are committing at a bare minimum 31 days, and then now they're adjusting it to where it's 3 months or they get hit with a penalty. And so it's pretty similar to Airbnb, but it's not as you're not trying to make these extremely nice. You want the properties to be nice and welcoming, but not like luxury Airbnbs. But ultimately, Pad Split is finding these people for you, the tenants. Technically, they're not tenants, but that's a whole different conversation. And then they vet them. They do some background check. They make sure that they have good job history, that their income can afford the room that you're advertising. And then, so they do a lot, but once they're moved in, you're responsible. And so we actually have a property manager in addition to Pad Split for our properties. And she does everything. Well, and we pay her $50 per door per month.
And what does this entail for this person to do this task?
She does it all. So any messages that come through, any move-ins, any people that want to move in, but we need to see, she'll interview them, any move-outs, any maintenance, and then her husband walks it once a week, and then we get a report at the end of the week saying, hey, anything you need to know, and then a couple bullet points. And so ultimately she has full control on any decisions below $300.
That's great. And I guess that also provides a level of security, or there's someone there kind of always present, right? Always coming around, looking around, right? So people, not that they're on edge, but they know that there's someone always here present representing ownership or whatever it is, that there's always eyes on the property for whatever reason. So, me thinking as a tenant, wow, there's someone always here, which is a good thing as well, right? So someone is let's say keeping command of the place and making everything sure is right, and communication back and forth is happening, and things are getting done if need be done, right? So there's a leaky pipe or whatever, right? So you guys are in constant communication, or there's a rift. There's a rift between tenants, right? Hey, Dustin, you might have an issue here. This is how we think of solving it.
It happens.
What do you think? Right.
Yeah.
So that's an incredible person to have on your team, right? That you can lean on and kind of let go a little bit, right? And let that person do their thing, right? So and in regards to, like, all right, you have the house, you got it, you're done. How about the furnishings? Do you have to provide the furnishing? And is there any specifics in regards to furnishing and what you do and what you don't do?
Yeah. So each property, we've done different things. It is at least at a minimum a bed, like, you have sheets. Ideally though, and it is evolving every quarter, every a couple months, each new pad split I walk, like different people I know, it is growing to where it's more furnished. So ideally, like a bed, a little desk. Some are now starting to have a TV, a little mini fridge. These are becoming more common. But the standard is typically at least like a bed and desk, and then usually a piece of wall art, something, at least one thing. But they don't encourage a living room, so no couch, no TV. Like, it only causes problems.
No common area?
Yeah, like the only common area is like not even a full dining table, but a breakfast table, like where 4 people can sit.
Okay.
And that's it.
So that's it. So you really can't have, let's say if you have 8 people, it's only 4 chairs. It's not really somewhere you can congregate and spend, chill out time, let's say. And it's got to be, it's built in that way already, where you kind of eliminate that. Okay, so this is really transient people who come in, or hardworking people who are just trying to get back on their feet, and then they literally need just a place to crash and get up and carry on with their day and whatever they're trying to do, and come back home. And you have a sense of home. You have your room, your bathrooms, obviously. And I was thinking, in the bathrooms, do you, for some reason, I heard someone mirrors. Are there mirrors in these bathrooms? Because maybe a lot of people stay in these bathrooms a long period of time. Or instead of having mirrors in the bathroom, you have them in the bedroom?
That's a good question. At the moment, there's mirrors. We haven't really had any issues as far as I know on that. But I know the one that we're doing in Port Orange right now, the property manager, the lady, is going to help us furnish it, where it's the goal is to have it more tailored towards a female audience, and then just diverse, because one of our other properties is all men, and so each property is different. But I know on this one specifically, we're going to try to do things like you just said, mirrors maybe in the bedrooms, like the colors, the price a little bit, because typically women are going to more willing to pay for a nicer, environment, and then younger men just want bare bones. Is what we're seeing.
Yeah, that's very interesting. You wouldn't really realize that unless you really step into that space. Especially now with women, you have to be more conscientious of their needs as well, right? Maybe have some vanity space or mirrors in bedrooms, like I mentioned earlier, right? And are your co-living spaces a mix, or just straight one gender, or guys or gals, or how's that working?
Yeah, so like legally we can't, say one or the other, like that it has to be. But from what we've noticed is whoever the first few tenants, whatever gender that happens to be, it kind of turns out the whole house evolves like that. And so we're just trying to keep that in mind with our furnishings and stuff. And so, Yeah, we have noticed that was whenever we also started incorporating more interview style. I don't know exactly what the property manager says, but she tries to like keep things transparent. Because one property we have is 8 beds and 7 were filled, but they're all guys. And then we had a couple women cycle in and out very fast just because she didn't feel comfortable like being the only woman.
Yeah, that's kind of something that I have to be mindful of, right? It's kind of not a
Yeah,
good blend. Let's say one woman for this 7 dudes, right? That's kind of,
yeah.
guys, I guess maybe we don't think of stuff like that, but being
No,
conscientious, right? You have to be mind. I guess maybe that's why you thought maybe having a woman's location, see how that kind of works out. That'd probably be awesome. That probably catch a lot of
yeah,
attention. That's a
yeah.
great.
It's in Port Orange too. If you ever want to check it out, I don't
That's
know
awesome.
if you're
Yeah,
ever in Florida, but
I am in Florida. I'll take you up on your offer where I'm there locally. I try to go a couple times a year. I love Florida, but yeah, it's incredible how you can and how do you rent these rooms out? Is there a price range that PadSplit provides, or how does that work?
yeah. So fortunately, they provide a lot of data, and
Okay.
it's nice because it's their own data. It's showing what the zip code, the average. They do it weekly rent is what they show because the way they charge the tenants is however the tenant gets paid, that's when they have to pay rent. And so anyway, they show the data on what all the averages are per zip code, and then they also show like how long it takes in that zip code for your first room to get filled, like as soon as the property goes live, and then also how long it takes to get 80% filled, like how many weeks or whatever that may be. So they give you a lot of information, and you can adjust it from there.
So for your experience, how long does it take to fill a house? Let's say 6 to 8 bedrooms. Do you have a gauge or kind of a ballpark figure?
It's fast. I was surprised.
Wow.
There's different things you can experiment with because some people, everyone's different, of course, but some people they charge a move-in fee, some don't, like $100.
And that who charges that? PadSplit, or you would throw that additional cost in?
The hosts, yeah, we do,
Okay. Okay.
and it's just to help maybe filter out people that aren't serious or help pay for cleaning because any turnover you should get it cleaned.
Sure.
Um, but all that's at your own discretion. So maybe your first few you don't have a move-in fee just to get some revenue coming in. Or some people, yeah, I don't. Everyone's different. I've been asking a lot of hosts that though too, how they do it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have my follow up is since PadSplit does a lot of this outreach to get people coming in, and you already have some experience in the space. Are you considering maybe filling that gap as well, and maybe becoming your own PadSplit, where you kind of have an idea how to recruit people, stuff like that? Maybe you could do this stuff on your own. Have you thought of that down the road as well?
No, definitely. I think what we're shooting for, because we have two major milestones. I have them on my board up here.
Awesome.
But by the end of 2026, we plan to be at 20 properties. And
Okay.
so while like 20 co-living properties specifically. And so until we hit something like that, we're going to stay like more in a growth phase where maybe it's not the most efficient model, but it's easier to scale with. So like keeping PadSplit involved.
Okay.
But then once we have like, because when you have 20 properties, at least based on like, our estimates, that's 120 rooms. Then we'll start shifting to, okay, how can we be more efficient and increase our margins? Like enter a new phase.
Okay. That's very interesting. I like that vision. I guess expand, right, and then pivot into, obviously you stabilize. You have certain plateau that you feel that you can now take it to the next level and
Yeah.
expansion in the business and create other opportunities. That's incredible. That the story is incredible. And where do you see the co-living space going in regards to affordability in America? Do you see it getting worse? Do you see it getting better? Or is that a reason why you got into the space? Because you see a need there as well?
Yeah, yeah. Well, so fortunately, the reason it makes so much sense to me is in grad school, I studied banking, like several classes, understanding like everyone works so hard for the dollar, right? But most people don't know where it actually comes from, like how a dollar is created, and they're just printed. And so ever since the 70s, we haven't been tied to the gold standard. So inflation is always going to be present. And so anyway, to me, all the evidence shows that the middle class will only continue shrinking, meaning that affordable housing is only going to become more in need, more demanded. And so that's why I like hyper focused on it. And but also too, co-living let me go all around the world, like rent by the room. That's the only way I could do a lot of that.
Okay,
So
so you use
couple
that
reasons,
aspect
yeah.
to get around. Oh, so you use the space as well.
Years ago, yeah. Like I went to school in Mediterranean, rent by the room. When I was in Hawaii, it was rent by the room. I even had to share the room as a bunk bed in Hawaii. Yeah.
Like a cell. That's like a cell.
Yeah. But to me, in general, it's like the middle class is only shrinking. Inflation is never going to go away. It's just going to fluctuate. And so, yeah, that's where the biggest demand is in my eyes.
I hear you. And also, I would throw in there maybe people not getting as married as they used to, a couple generations ago. So that nuclear family is not kind of in existence as it used to be, let's say, right? And people are now living more of that single life, right? So I believe that also plays kind of an additional part into where this is going as well, right? So you're kind of skating to where the puck is going to be at, right? Where you forecast it and seeing it. That's amazing. And where do you see yourself with the business? Obviously, you gave us a forecast. So where do you see the business going with you and your partners the next couple of years?
Yeah, so ultimately the goal by December 31st, 2026, we plan to be at 20 co-living properties, housing 120 people. And then by December 31st, 2028, we're going to be housing 500 people, 75 properties.
Wow.
And so like we have everything, mapped out what that organizational chart needs to look like. And then every day just adding more details, make it more like organized. And so yeah, that's the main focus.
That's awesome. So let's say there's a newbie investor out there who's kind of interested in the space, have been thinking about it, but doesn't really know how to get into it. Can you give us a kind of a granular aspect, and what would you do to, let's say, work towards your first co-living property? What would you do?
So actually, the reason I interviewed the pad split rep yesterday is either Friday or Saturday this weekend, I'm going to have an ebook, and it's a step-by-step guide on how to get your first co-living property in less than 60 days.
Awesome.
And it says exactly what to look for. Because so many people, there's so many ways you can get it. Like on my first one, I found the deal and then I got equity. So someone can, when they know what it needs to look like, they can go hunt and bring it to a team that already has properties and say, hey, what can we do? The other is, in addition to the ebook, it'll also explain, like, a lot of people think that capital is their biggest barrier, but in reality, as long as you have like a 680 credit score and above, you can access enough capital to buy a pad split, like even if it's just turnkey. So
okay, those opportunities exist as well. Getting turnkey properties.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of new. I never thought about that. So, and how would you source these turnkeys, or is there a place you go to, or how do you figure that out?
Well, the turnkey ones, you have to work with someone that already owns a pad split because they get access to all that data.
Okay. Oh, so you have to then leverage someone else who's in the community in pad split to have access to that and maybe create an opportunity that way. Oh, very
Yeah, they
interesting.
could, because you could see other hosts and other hosts that maybe want to sell stuff like that. So I know at some point, probably by the end of the year, there's a lady in Owners Club where their partners, they want to liquidate one or two of their properties, their pad splits, just
Okay.
because they want to focus more on businesses and wanted to free up capital.
Okay.
So my main partner and I, LD David, will probably be buying a turnkey one as well by the end of the year.
Oh, that's awesome. I would like to know about that later on. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's
We'll be using business credit to do it.
to use that as well. Oh, I love that idea to be able to access capital and use that capital as
Yeah,
well. I'm working on that stuff also, so I guess I'll talk to you behind the
yeah,
scene and see if we could create opportunity. I'm
yeah,
actually
yeah,
doing a lot of stuff right now as we speak. But yeah,
yeah.
Dustin, it's been incredible to have you on. You have any social media platforms that you want to shout out where we can find you at?
Yeah, easiest is on Instagram. Um, Dustin Jarosky. Technically, it's at Dustin underscore Jarosky, but there's not many Jaroskys out there, so I'll pop up fast.
Yeah, that's awesome. So again, I appreciate having you and give us some insight in actually this space works. And we look to have you on later on in the future to give us some more of these nuggets that you've
Yeah,
provided, right?
definitely.
You've been super informative to our audience. And again, we'll see you soon, brother.
Awesome. Sounds good, man. Looking forward to it.
Thank you again. Take care.
Okay. Have a good night.